Hello again, summoners, and welcome to our in-depth analysis of Gen G Ruler's XAYAH gameplay. Fun fact, this guy's XAYAH is so good that he even has his own skin for her. Yup, that's right. The SSG XAYAH skin that we know and love today was awarded to Ruler for winning the 2017 World Championship. Unfortunately for Ruler, he will be watching this year's Worlds from the sidelines as Gen G hasn't qualified, but that doesn't diminish the fact that Ruler is still one of Korea's best AD carries. Today, we will analyze one of his solo queue games. But before we get started, make sure to click the link below and check out ProGuides.com. ProGuides is the best proven way to increase your rank in League of Legends, and we post guide videos like this one every single day. As of now, we're currently uploading a Challenger gameplay analysis guide for every single champion, so don't miss out on this. On top of that, we have an exclusive feature which provides instant 24/7 on-demand coaching from the best of the best. Your friends are really going to be surprised at how you got so good at the game within such a short period of time, so get on with it. First off in the video, let's go through the runes and the items that Ruler used in this match, and then talk about XAYAH's mechanics. His rune page was Lethal Tempo, Triumph, Legend Bloodline, and Coup de Grace in Precision, with Magical Footwear and Biscuit Delivery in Inspiration, with 1 attack speed, 1 adaptive force, and 1 magic resist shard. Typically, Lethal Tempo is going to be the primary keystone of choice for XAYAH because the entire point of her kit is to output the feathers as fast as possible. Also, in the laning phase, it's extremely easy to proc Lethal Tempo with a feather that pierces through the minion and hits an enemy champion in the backline. Triumph is the best choice for solo queue, but oftentimes in competitive play, people will opt for Overheal to give that safety, especially with a healing support such as Rakan. Next up, Bloodline is definitely the most effective option since you'll hardly ever build lifesteal on XAYAH, so having that 12% max Bloodline stacks helps out a ton with survivability and allows you to focus on damage and attack speed items only. Coup de Grace gives more kill pressure to execute low health enemies, and the Biscuit Delivery and Magical Footwear are simply the most viable secondary runes on AD carries in Season 9, which is why they are so common. The same is true of attack speed and adaptive shards, and magic resist was chosen since the enemy team deals primarily magic damage with the likes of Akali, Anivia, as well as Nautilus and half of Kai'Sa's kit. Moving on to Ruler's items, he started off with a Doran's Blade since the enemy bot lane doesn't have a ton of poke, and if it did, then he most likely would have started with a Doran Shield instead. Then he got the core item on XAYAH, which is Essence Reaver. Similar to Sivir, XAYAH relies pretty heavily on abilities, so Essence Reaver gives the necessary mana regen and cooldown reduction to keep casting those abilities. His boots were Berserker's Greaves, which is typical for AD carries, and his second item was Rapid Fire Cannon, though Phantom Dancer is a good option against heavy burst-oriented champions. To top it all off and get that 75% crit, Infinity Edge is the item to buy, and after that it's very situational, with options of Mercurial Scimitar, Maul of Malmortius, and the Bloodthirster, etc. Alright, let's drop into a custom game to show off some of XAYAH's mechanics that you may or may not be familiar with. If you're watching this, you probably know XAYAH's kit in a nutshell, which is she gets feathers from abilities, then auto attacks with those feathers and they pierce through enemies, then she pulls those feathers back to root those same enemies and then kill them. So today we'll instead talk about some nuances, like for example her W Deadly Plumage. It is primarily an attack speed steroid, but it also gives her movement speed if she hits an enemy champion, and every time she auto attacks, she hits an additional time for less damage. This is extremely useful for taking down towers, and if she's paired with her lover Rakan, he will get the same effects too, including the movement speed bonus. Regarding her ultimate, which is Featherstorm, you probably know that it does make her untargetable, but able to move, which does include flashing. But if she wants to avoid terrain such as Jarvan's Cataclysm, she can't just magically jump over it, even though she's technically in the air. A bit illogical, but you know what, hey. Oh yeah, and she is untargetable, but she is not invulnerable. This means that any damage over time or delayed attacks will still hurt and potentially kill her while she's in mid-air, examples including Zed's Assassin's Mark, Vladimir's Hemoplague, or even Ignite. Let's now mention a few combos for getting those Blade Caller roots. You want to start with your Q, auto attack, and then E immediately. If there's a possibility to get a kill, you can of course follow up with W and auto attack them to death. You could also start with your W, auto attack once, then Q and E immediately after. This takes advantage of the fact that you can pull feathers while they're still traveling and surprise your enemies. In Ruler's match, he actually manages to press E a moment before Q and still get the root. And if you want to be extremely efficient when wave clearing, you can space out your abilities a tiny bit by pressing W first, then auto-attacking once, pressing Q, auto-attacking 3 more times to clear your inventory of feathers, and then finally pressing E to pull them all back to you. Most of the time, this really isn't a huge necessity, but if you're very low on mana or you're not in a hurry, you can make use of it. Lastly, the general leveling order is getting Q at level 1 for better last hitting, then E at level 2 and level W at level 3, and then the maxing order is E, W, and Q, since Blade Caller is the main damaging ability. Alright, that's been it for the mechanics of XAYAH. Let's now jump into Ruler's game to see how it unfolds. XAYAH and Rakan into Kai'Sa and Nautilus is a pretty even matchup and it can go either way, but Rakan still takes Aftershock just in case a possible all-in from Nautilus. Either way, Ruler places a ward in the river here to spot if Nautilus and Kai'Sa walk into the Tribe Rush and attempt to have a level 1 cheese, which they could actually come out on top of. However, the game opens in a standard way without any shenanigans and it's back to farming. Because of XAYAH's kit, as we explained, it's extremely easy to poke just by hitting the minion wave. The extra 900 range of piercing feathers means that Kai'Sa easily drops a fifth of her HP only by standing in the range of feathers. XAYAH and Rakan establish a slow push thanks to XAYAH's innately fast wave clear, but sadly they don't notice or don't respect the Lee Sin coming to gank, and Ruler gives up first blood pretty quickly. Upon respawning, he grabs a coal in order to catch up, as well as a potion and a control ward. In the lane, he looks to create a freeze or at least a slow push as to deny farm to the enemy bot lane and simultaneously catch back up. He keeps up this confident zoning even when Kai'Sa shows because of the increased range of Rakan's battle dance when XAYAH is the target. This actually means that Rakan can be off screen for Kai'Sa, but at the same time he can theoretically E onto XAYAH, then flash and W onto Kai'Sa within 1 second. And of course, Xin Zhao is also close, preparing to gank. Ruler turns on Deadly Plumage to see if Rakan will execute the combo we just mentioned, but he doesn't and Xin recalls. Nevertheless, 20 seconds later, Kai'Sa missteps and gets rooted by Blade Caller, then Rakan chains his own CC, and even though Kai'Sa flashes, the lovers duo chases her under the tower and picks up a kill, burning all of their summoner spells as well. Kai'Sa's mistake here was obviously not seeing the feathers behind her, but also not noticing the very large blue wave that's building up to crash into her own tower. The proper play here would have been to just stay far back and wait for the wave to come closer to the tower. But enough about Kai'Sa because this is a XAYAH analysis. Anyways, thanks to that kill, Ruler and his support managed to get 1 plating off the tower and also severely damaged Nautilus with Rakan's grand entrance and XAYAH's Q and 1 auto root combo that we mentioned before. After the reset, a fight starts to brew near the Dragon Pit, and Ruler managed to pick up a triple kill with the help of his teammates. With a score of 4-1-1, his prior mistake of overextending that Lee Sin got first blood is completely nullified, so he shoves the wave quickly and recalls to pick up Essence Reaver components. In the meantime, a fight happens bot lane which leaves Rakan on low HP, so he's forced to recall as soon as Ruler comes back to lane. Knowing this, Ruler doesn't want to shove the wave because even though he's ahead, he cannot afford to overextend 1v2. Xin Zhao does attempt to gank, but then he backs off after Nautilus ults him. Nevertheless, Xin manages to chunk Kai'Sa down and force her to recall. In the meantime, Ruler pushes the wave to tower and starts attacking it. The 2 feathers are already on the ground behind Nautilus, so Ruler pulls them back, and as he's pulling them, he auto-attacks this minion right here, utilizing the trick where you can recall the feathers as they're flying and manages to root Nautilus. So basically, as we said before, if you're quick enough, instead of Q auto E, you can Q E auto and surprise your opponents even more. Immediately after, Rakan quickly follows up with Grand Entrance and the quickness, and the kill is secured by Ruler with only around 100 HP to spare. Hashtag calculated. At this point, the XAYAH and Rakan duo is extremely strong, leading the Kai'Sa and Nautilus duo with 6 kills to 0. So let's back up to the start of the game to mention a few important moments that led to this, and surely the one that didn't. Hint, it's the second one. To start off, Ruler placed a ward very early on to spot out a possible level 1 cheese by the enemy bot lane. However, XAYAH and Rakan did not respect Lee Sin's gank and gave up first blood. They however get a return kill by taking advantage of Kai'Sa's mispositioning, and Ruler gets a golden opportunity to gain a lead by cleaning up a fight and getting a triple kill. After a fight leaves Rakan on low HP and he has to recall, Ruler stops hard shoving the wave because he can't risk overextending 1v2, and he uses the feather mechanics that he knows to root Nautilus under the tower and with the help of Rakan, pick up another kill. This lead means that as soon as they come back to the lane, they're able to catch out the losing duo and snowball this lead even further. It comes back to the tactic of Rakan standing back to make the enemy feel safe, then suddenly dashing to XAYAH and knocking up Kai'Sa in this case. The Kai'Sa is forced to flash, but Nautilus can't afford this luxury because his own flash is on cooldown and he dies instead. With the deadly plumage activated on both champions, XAYAH and Rakan get the first tower very quickly, and instead of recalling, they wrap around and surprise the enemy bot lane once again, appearing out of their own jungle and picking up yet another kill on this poor Nautilus. It's possible that the red team could have avoided this by playing passively and pulling the wave over here, instead of walking back up to the destroyed tower and posing themselves a risk from the unwarded jungle. Our lovers duo is very thirsty for blood, so they're not satisfied with one kill and they dive under the tier 2 tower to attempt to pick up a kill onto Kai'Sa. They fail this, and this gives time for Akali to teleport and pick up the kill on XAYAH, while Anivia chases down Rakan in the river. Sure, this was unnecessary, but Akali and Anivia rotating bot does give time for Vlad and Xin to pop the Rift Herald top lane and get another tower for the blue team. Since the outer towers in both top and bottom lanes are down, Ruler, being the most fed member of the team, rotates mid to take the last outer tower where there is still some plating left. But another fight starts, this time in the top river, and Ruler naturally goes to help his team. Instead of the 3 kills he picked up last time, now he only gets 1, but that allows him to go back mid and push it out. Kai'Sa shows up to defend, but since Ruler is so much stronger than her now, he decides to solo dive her, this time using the QWE combo, finishing her off with the remaining feathers and with a bit of help of Rakan. Next up, Nautilus and Anivia show, but there's a lot of feathers behind them, and Anivia easily gets rooted. Ruler ults to avoid aggression from Nautilus and the tower shot, and then finishes off Anivia with the feathers from the XAYAH ultimate. They keep pushing mid and kill anyone who stands in their way, only further snowballing their enormous lead, and the red team's nexus eventually falls. Even though Ruler had a rocky start to his laning phase, he got a golden opportunity and scored a triple kill early on in the game, then continued to keep his cool and carefully pick some chances in order to further snowball that lead and not throw it completely. Before we finish up in this video, here's another recap to drive home the points for today and help you on that ranked climb with XAYAH. You are not immune to damage in your ult, just immune to being targeted. Also, you cannot magically fly over terrain with it, you still need to flash over. Your feathers can be pulled back before they finish flying. Use this trick to land some cheesy roots and catch your opponents off guard. Since the feathers do pierce through minions, you can easily poke the enemy champions just with your normal farming patterns. Don't push your wave if you're left alone in the lane. Wait for your support to come back and then be more confident. Lastly, in team fights, you should try not to use your E too early, and it's better that you wait to put down more feathers, or at least until you can root multiple opponents and then cast the ability. And here's everything in one place so you can screenshot it and use it as a reminder. Thank you so much for watching until the end of our analysis for Ruler's XAYAH. I hope you've learned something new today. Once again, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel or visit ProGuides.com for more on how to master XAYAH or any other AD carry. On ProGuides.com, we've partnered with pro players to create courses designed to help you take your game to the next level. So don't miss out on that. Good luck on the Rift, and I'll see you all next time.